is we set up a special purpose vehicle, SPVCO, and what we do is we place all the fibre assets that the developer is going to pay for in this company. Because one of the major things that developers seem to be very, very stressed about is what happens if the telecommunications company providing the infrastructure was to go broke, and then they would lose their entire asset and have to rebuild from scratch. So what we've done is we've built this protection mechanism with using some lawyers and one of our property developers who was a lawyer. So what basically happens is this. The developers over here the developer funds the purchase of the fibre infrastructure. The ownership of the SPVCO goes with our licensed carrier, which is called Wobiel. So it owns it and manages that asset so that we can keep all the things like carrier intercept and all the things that are legally required to run a fibre network. What we then do is we place a fixed and floating charge over the asset. So the developer holds this fixed and floating charge. And what this means is that there's a contract between us and the property developer that says we have to maintain a bunch of key KPIs, which stands for Key Performance Indicators. This meaning that if anything was to go wrong or the property developer wasn't happy with the performance, he could enable his fixed and floating charge and take back control of the asset and hand the fibre asset or the development off to a new telco over here. New telco. Only for required. Obviously, we'd never want this to happen because it's of our interest to build it and maintain it. The way our company is structured is we have three main entities. We have Wobiel, which is our licensed carrier. And which also provides wholesale access. Then we have TSN, which is an arm's length retail provider. And then we have BIC, which is our construction company. Which has done work for people like Telstra, Vision Stream, Service Stream, etc., etc. Now, the goals of these two companies is BIC constructs, Wobiel maintains the wholesale network because obviously we want other people or other carriers like your Optus, your AAPT, all these other guys to be able to get access to the network but what we do is we supply a default generic vanilla flavor retail provider just in case while we wait for these guys to come along, or just in case they're slow in coming along, so the developer does have someone that is able to provide 100 meg. The problem with a lot of these bigger companies is they don't have a product structure yet behind 100 meg, so they'll only be able to offer slower speeds, and a lot of people want the faster speeds. Some other questions we've been asked is about differentiation of fibre. How can I have bigger and better fibre than the next guy? So fibre really comes in layers. The basic of basic, which the government's going to legislate, is 100 megabit fibre. That's 100 megabits per second. Based on technology costs, you could quite easily go to 1,000 megabits or 1 gigabit per home. Now, nobody that I know of has done this in the world or even in Australia, so this would be quite revolutionary, and the press coverage from this, I think, would be absolutely enormous. Some other things that you can do to add value or really make you stand out yourself is extra TV stations over the fibre. Advanced phone features. Some of these include things like message bank to email, so all that your messages would fly out to you. So your voice messages like 101 would fly out to you via email. For the children, a games network. For the business, work from home VPNs. I'll just start a new page. A lot of question also revolves around price. What is the rough cost of enabling fibre per home, and how is it broken out? We've pretty much got our cost down to a simplistic model that it costs around between $1,400 and $2,200 per lot. Now, what this does include, well, obviously the distance here is what the reason for the big variance in factor is, the distance between the lots. Now, there's only one other factor that comes into this, so you can easily take this as say you had 300 lots. It'd be 300 times, let's say, $1,500. And that will give you your total price for the lots. There's only one other thing that the government's demanding people do, which is called backhaul. Now, what backhaul means is it means the fibre that connects from the telephone exchange to the start of your property development. So let's say the entry to the property. So this piece of fibre right here. And due to distances, it's impossible for us to quote, but it's a cost for fibre to be laid in the ground. It costs around about $30 per metre to the nearest telephone exchange. Now, a lot of people also want to know what you get for this money. What does fibre to the home actually look like?